Uh, there we go. Now we'll be making that available for you. So just a kind of an introduction. I know many of you have joined us in the past. This NC3 webinar is really about providing some information on climate, agriculture through these bi-monthly webinars here, and those recordings again are going to be available on our website. You can also sign up for to be notified of future webinars. And we'll make sure that we provide that information again throughout today's webinar. So we're doing something a little bit different. As our temperatures cool off here across the Midwest and the North Central region, certainly, we're starting to think about winter here, and some of the models are even indicating some snowfall over the next several days. But we really wanted to focus in on a bit of the tools that are available. And this was based on a presentation that some of us gave at the National Ag Extension Conference in Montana back in the heat of the summer, the heart of the summer here. And so joining me today to talk about climate and agricultural data tools and resources for extension is Madeline Wustenberg from Iowa State, Ag climate specialist there with Iowa State University. And I'll try not to mix our universities since they sound very familiar. My name is Aaron Wilson. I'm with Ohio State University Extension, very similar role to Maddie. And we're going to kind of dive into it here, and we're going to go off script, and would really encourage you just a little bit to, if you want to have, if you've got the capability of doing dual monitors or looking at a separate laptop or something, we're going to kind of step through a couple of these tools today to talk about how you can utilize those for some of your interactions. So we'll go ahead and get started. And again, if you've got any questions, be sure to put those in the Q&A box, and we will have this recording one more time available for you here at the end of the session. So yeah, today we're going to talk about some climate and agricultural data tools and resources for extension. A lot of the webinar today does heavily rely on our national data sets from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and other federal agencies. That does include the National Weather Service and National Centers for Environmental Information. The National Weather and Climate Research Centers as well, funded by NOAA, National Science Foundation, and many, many others. A lot of university collaboration to develop these tools and websites to be able to access and visualize the data. U.S. Department of Agriculture, Department of Interior, NOAA, NSF, and other federally funded projects and programs. So that really makes these tools and data accessible and available for all of us to make these critical decisions in our everyday lives here. And of course, that should say Montana. We didn't catch that. It's modified from our engagement again at the NACAA in Montana in July of 2025. And for additional resources, the QR code and the link here, this tinyurl.com, has a lot of the tools that we're going to use today, but also additional tools and data sets and things that you can utilize that we won't get to today. And if you have any questions, you can certainly reach out to us at NC3 as well. So I'm going to get us started looking at the National Centers for Environmental Information's Climate at a Glance. So this is an interactive tool that provides near real-time analysis, temperature, precipitation, and other data globally and for the U.S. And really, it's utilized really well. A lot of state climate office and state climatologists use this quite a bit to compare current conditions with our historical records to study climate variability and change. And what you can see the link there if you want to follow along and follow that link. That's basically what we're going to do now is I'm going to stop sharing our slides and we're going to jump to the actual website and look at this in a little bit more depth here. So let's make sure we've got, again, this is a little bit different. So we're not just going to be kind of going slides here, but we should be pulling up now the NOAA at a glance website. Just nod your head, Maddie, if you see it. Great, awesome. Yeah, so here is the website. Of course, we've got our government shutdown banner. So we do not have September statistics or anything up to date, but we do have all of the data and statistics up through the end of August. So we will utilize what we have for that today. And again, there are a lot of different ways of accessing this data, and I'm gonna step through some examples that you might be interested in. That you can also investigate in your own time for your own region for sure. So we're going to start with the globe, just kind of a global picture here. We're going to click globe on the screen and we're going to go to mapping. We're going to launch the mapping tool. Real time, we don't know how much time it's going to take. Of course, everything was working beautifully just a couple minutes ago. Here we go, global mapping, right? So you've got some options here to utilize. We're going to start by just looking at the average temperature for 2025, and we're going to use the month of August. Again, we're updated through August here. Right now with the government shutdown, this data is not being updated for public display. And then what you're looking at right now is just the average temperature rank for the globe in these 5x5 degree boxes across the surface here. You can toggle back and forth between anomaly and ranking, but if you want to find your area, so here I am in the central Ohio region, which is really kind of right in the middle, maybe 4 of these blocks here. Obviously, we're only getting down to 5 degree by 5 degree latitude, but this is looking at the August 2025 anomaly, so the difference compared to a long-term mean. You can see that mean is the 20th century, the 30-year National Weather Service operational mean of 1991 to 2020. So you can see here in the eastern United States, several of these blocks showing the anomalies were cooler than average, so a cooler August than what we typically saw in that 30-year mean, 1991. You go out into the portions of the western United States, central to western United States, you started to get into some of the positive anomalies there. So, looking at the August 2025, you can see those numbers there. The anomaly was about minus 0.9 degree C or Celsius, ranking as 71st. In the full ranking. And of course, this ranking, if you go to the year, you can see it goes all the way back to 1850 for that global statistical look there. You could also utilize the table down here, which you can put those according to rank at different locations and the anomaly for those boxes as well, right? So that's all I'm going to show from the global perspective. We're going to switch over now to the national look. Oops, we're going to try. We're going to switch over to the national look. If you go back up to the top here, you can go to the national dropdown. You can hit national mapping. So I'm sure quite a few of you are familiar with these maps that you see, and there's a lot of information here that we're not going to get into all of this today, but we're going to just provide you an example of what you can do with this. So we're looking at the average temperature as the parameter. We're just going to look at 2025. We're going to keep it on August for now and just the 1 month time frame. Now, again, if you plot this is what you're going to see initially. So this is the actual average, okay, for the contiguous, right? So the lower 48 here of 73.36, that's for August. The anomaly was positive 1.28 degrees Fahrenheit, ranking as the 28th warmest over the 131 years. So this record going back to 1895 for the United States, and you can see you can toggle between these as well. So you can go to the anomaly if you want to just see what the anomaly, of course, you had that information below this map, so maybe not quite as useful, but then also the means. A couple of other things that you can do with this tool. You can add the text labels as well. This may become a little bit more useful as you get down to individual states and counties here in just a second. So if we're wanting to look at that average temperature anomaly compared to the 20th century mean here, this is 1901 to 2000, that's the 1.28 degree Fahrenheit anomaly, or warmer than average for that. You can go back up here and look at other time scales, many time scales. Maybe we want to take a look at the meteorological, climatological summer here. So the 3-month value from June, July, and August. Go ahead and plot that. Maybe there's several of us using that right now. So we can see the value and the anomaly. So the anomaly for summer, positive 1.96 degrees Fahrenheit, making it the 12th warmest for the contiguous US. So certainly up there in that ranking. Yeah, so you can look at various different scales here, year to date, for instance. How are we looking January through August of this year, ranking all of those 131 periods, 10th warmest on record for the lower 48. So that's a little bit, again, you can look at the value, anomaly, rank, and that's useful from a national perspective. But I think there are a couple other ways that we can utilize this data and get some more information out of it. We can go to the national time series, so you can click on the time series here. We're going to change it up. We're going to come off of temperature. We're going to take a look at, maybe, there we go. We're going to change our parameter to precipitation. So what was the precipitation like? I know here, as you'll see in a moment, because I'm going to use Ohio as an example, very dry conditions in Ohio. Again, you've got a number of different options here to utilize to do some comparisons. We're going to look at precipitation. We're going to look at the time scale. We're just going to jump to year to date. So how are we looking at least through August for 2025? We're going to keep August, so that's going to give us the first 8 months of the year here. We're going to start at 1895 and end at 2025. You'll notice some options here on the right-hand panel as well. So looking at display base period, we're going to go ahead and click that. And basically that's going to show what that average annual amount for precipitation was for that 1901 to 2000. So that baseline period, we're not going to worry about a trend right now or any of those other options. And we're going to go ahead and plot that. So again, this is looking at the lower 48 or the contiguous US. And so you can see, 2025, so we're going from 1895 to 2025. And if you look at that average precipitation across the country, it's a little bit above that 100-year mean baseline, 1901 to 2000. Of course, a lot of variability. I always like to draw the, sort of the conclusions of, if you're out walking your dog, you know how the dog meanders back and forth quite a bit. So we've got these dogs moving back and forth, showing that high variability year to year. But there's certainly some trends in here, and you can start to kind of tease some more of these out as well. If you go down to the table below, so if you're more of a numbers versus a graph perspective, you can rank all of these. So you can put them in order, obviously. So this is, ranking, pretty wet year again, looking at all 130 years. So it's ranked 73rd. You can do that by anomaly as well. So if you want to find what the driest year to date on record is in this data set, that's 1934. So you have to go back a ways to see that sort of national average anomaly of minus 4.41 inches. Drought of 1988 sticks out here certainly as one of those years. But if it felt, again, wet or dry in your area, again, this is the national look. So we want to kind of zoom in a little bit more. And for me personally, I think that's where this tool becomes a critical asset. The NOAA puts out these reports each month with nice summaries from a national and a global perspective. But I think as we start to narrow down a little bit, and we're going to jump next to the state view, we can jump into this. And for me as a state climatologist, I think it becomes really, really useful from a communications perspective. So we're going to start with the state view, and we're going to I'm going to start with the time series here. Again, if you have any questions, just throw them in the Q&A, and we'll answer those the best we can. Need a little elevator music. Hoping it stays with me here. This is what happens when you use this tool on the fly. Try it again. All right. Nope. Let me try to reload it. Might be shifting to you here, Maddie, for just a second. We can always come back to this, but let's give it a go here.
Yeah, we'll give it a second. There was a note in the Q&A that it's being slow for other folks too. And I just want to point out that for the past couple of weeks, a lot of the federal NOAA, National Weather Service, Climate Prediction Center sites have been uh, slow or they've had some challenges with accessing particular data. So, not uncommon right
Right.
now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm using Chrome today because I had some issues with Firefox, for instance. But why don't we pause if you're okay with that, and maybe we'll shift over to you. I'll stop sharing, and then I'll let you jump into your material if that works.
Yeah, that is just fine.
Yeah.
I will share my screen here. And can I get a nod from Aaron or Allie that we're sharing and it's all good?
Just go into prison. There we go. Yep, you're good.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So I'm going to talk about the Iowa Environmental Mesonet. And I did have it queued up. Of course, now it's gone in the chat with the link to access this. So if you're wanting to access and follow along with the Iowa Environmental Mesonet, I just threw that link in the chat. But a little background. The Iowa Environmental Mesonet is a just powerhouse of uh, data accessible throughout the whole United States. Um, and a piece of the Iowa Environmental Mesonet is the Iowa Soil Moisture Network. And so that network or our website called the Iowa Environmental Mesonet is not necessarily a full, complete Mesonet, robust statewide observational system, but we do have about 15 to 20 stations across the state where we're monitoring meteorological variables and also looking at soil moisture and temperature to give us a good look of where we're sitting in terms of drought or flooding or excess water in the soil profile across the state. So, the Iowa Soil Moisture Network is a small piece of what the Iowa Environmental Mesonet can do. So, if you don't live within the state of Iowa, I have great news. This tool is still incredibly useful for you, and we'll take a look at that. So, um, like the slide here says, the data from the Iowa Soil Moisture Network is available on the Iowa Environmental Mesonet or IEM, but it is a very small fraction of what is available on this website. Let's see if I can keep advancing my slides. There we go. All right, so the IEM is a website with a massive number of portals, API services, auto plots, and spinning disk archives. This website was built with intentionally stable URLs and hopefully predictable interfaces to link against. So if you save a tool or a link within the Iowa Environmental Mesonet, that link should exist for a very, very long time, unless a meteorite hits Iowa State University or something crazy like that, that link should still be available. And all of the code backend of this website is available on GitHub at this link, github.com/AKRHERS. And it's with an open license. So if there is a particular auto plot that you really like and you would like access to the Python code or the script that is behind that plot, it's available on GitHub. And this website has about 250,000 users per day, but the vast majority of them have no idea they're using the IEM. So different third parties are pulling uh, data and information from the IEM and using it in their own websites. So just um, really great place to start when you're looking for weather data. This is a list of not quite all of the input data sets that are accessible through the Iowa Environmental Mesonet. And it's also a slide where I like to see if I can get away with the most number of acronyms on any given slide. And I usually can. So the main takeaway from this slide is there's a lot of input data coming into the IEM that can be accessed through this resource. So we are going to go ahead and navigate to the IEM website and we'll answer some questions. So I'm going to try to not jump back and forth too much. We'll take a brief little tour through the structure of the IEM website, and then we will look at some specific auto plots. Alrighty. Can y'all see the IEM home screen? If I can get a thumbs up.
Yep, you're good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So when you type in or go to the URL mesonet.agron.iastate.edu, this is the main page that will come up. And across the top here, there's a menu of options. There's also specific pages for different types of users or what you may be looking for. So if you are a farmer or work in agriculture and you're looking for ag weather resources, those can be found here. If you are a part of the National Weather Service or doing more operational weather, that is available here, and then also a quick link for researchers. Every single day, there is a new IEM daily feature, which will highlight some product available on the IEM that is typically relevant to something weather-wise going on in Iowa or the Midwest or nationally if there's some big weather event going on. And so I highly encourage everyone to tune in and log into or go navigate to the IEM website every day and see what the latest daily feature is. But you can also take a look at past features with this link right above it. So, like I said, every day there's some new feature highlighting a particular weather condition and a new tool showing data from, like I said, typically around the state of Iowa or Midwest. So this is just a look at the features from October so far this month. And you can see there's all sorts of different plotting tools. So this daily feature kind of gives you an idea of what tools, what data plotting tools are available and how might I use them in what contexts. If you ever want to get back to the main page, you can always click this Iowa Environmental Mesonet text at the top, and that will bring you right back to the beginning. Inside each of these drop downs, there are various tools. So this is the applications and various different types of plotting applications. There's areas of focus. So if you're interested in ag weather, climate, drought, National Weather Service, severe weather. This is a drop down showing the various data sets that exist and can be pulled from the IEM. This has information on the information provided on the website, so past presentations that have been done related to using the Iowa Environmental Mesonet, station data and metadata for this Iowa Soil Moisture Network. There's also the various networks that are pulled in as input data for plotting tools available here. So if you're interested in Iowa soil moisture specifically, that quick link is here. If you're interested in the National Lab for Ag and the Environment, flux, eddy covariance flux data, that's available here. NRCS soil climate, and things like that. CocoRaws, I always love to highlight another great rainfall data resource. Then again, a drop down for specific National Weather Service data, various services, API services, and the like available through the IEM, and webcams. So we have webcams accessible across the state. We also have a quick access to looking at snowplow webcams and that sort of thing through the IEM. The last thing I'll highlight on the main page here before we get into some of the automated data plotting tools is this IEM 1 on the side. It's under most popular and it shows the apps that are most popular. We will cover this automated data plotting, but I also want to highlight this IEM 1, which shows radar and warnings. So if you like to view radar and you don't have, you don't love, some of the websites that are available out there, there's an option on the Iowa Environmental Mesonet. So this covers data for the whole country, and you can zoom out and zoom in and toggle very easily. It'll show real-time and archived radar. So if you have a date and time of radar data of interest, you can select archive and that date of interest, and that will pull the archived historical radar data from that event for that location that you're interested. Otherwise, you can view real-time radar available now. So we can see that our friends down in Florida have some excitement going on here, and the Southeast US is getting some rain. So this is all accessible all the time. You can see there's some funky stuff going on in Iowa with the way I have my settings pulled up here right now. But I like to snoop on the trucks and things with the DOT driving across the state. So you can always see what conditions are, how are things looking across the state, and really fun when there's a storm event coming and you can check the truck webcam data and see that storm rolling in. So if you're within Iowa and you like to look at that kind of thing, that is available. All right. And then this little back arrow button here on the top right-hand corner will take you back to the main IEM page. All right, so now I won't go into presentation mode. We'll just hang out here. I guess that does give away, but we'll take a look at a couple of IEM plots. So we have the question, what is the greatest positive precipitation departure in the state of Nebraska from April 1 through June 25th, 2025, and where does this occur? And so to answer that question of the greatest precipitation departure in a particular state, we would use autoplot number 97. There's a couple ways to access the autoplots. The first is if you know what autoplot you want to use, you can type in the number of that autoplot in the search bar and hit enter, and it will pull up that exact autoplot of interest. If you're not sure which autoplot you're interested in, then you would go to Apps, Automated Data Plotting, and that would pull a list of all of the autoplots available on the IEM. And so this is a long list. Like I said, there's around 230 autoplots available, but they're broken down by time and type. So here you can see the list starts with daily data. So any plots that are available with a daily data set, and you would scroll for a little bit here and see all of the different plots available with daily weather data. Then we have monthly. So taking a look at, for example, number 125 here, looking at the climatological maps of period averages. This would give you a time period of a month and looking at those climatological monthly averages. Keep scrolling and we get yearly. Then they're broken down more by type. So if we're looking or interested at looking at hydrology or drought, those plots can be found here. If you're interested in METAR and ASOS analyses and that sort of data, that's available here. And then USDA crop statistics plotting are also available. These plot number 197 is similar to what would be available directly through the NASS crop reporting website, but there are some other options as well. Keep in mind that this data is reliant on pulling from that NASS data. So obviously, and unfortunately, for the last few weeks, we haven't had any updates on crop progress and harvest progress from the USDA crop statistics. So unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to access those any differently from the IEM. But if you're looking for historical data, that is all there. Then National Weather Service warning plots. So looking at historical records of National Weather Service warnings. And some upper air sounding data plotting available and miscellaneous. So maybe just some other interesting plotting types available. So again, really long list. As always, feel free to reach out to me or Daryl Hersman, who operates the IEM. His website, or his email, excuse me, is down here at the bottom of the website. And we're happy to help point you in the right direction of what you're looking for. All right. After that brief tour, we will head back to autoplot number 97 and answer that question of what was the greatest positive precipitation departure in Nebraska from April 1st to June 25th. So, like we said, we'll use plot number 97. We will select plot by sector or state. We will plot for Nebraska. We are interested in the precipitation departure. So in this drop down of variable to plot, there are lots of different options, but we will be interested in that precipitation departure. Because we're doing precipitation departure, we're not interested in growing degree days, so those can stay at their default. We were interested in April 1st through June 25th. And then lastly, I always recommend being cognizant of which climatology you're using, especially when you're looking at departures, because that climatology matters. So the IEM is calculating its own climatology available based on the station data that's being pulled. But I typically recommend folks to switch to this NCEI climatology of 1991 to 2020. Then you would click Generate Plot. And it does take a little bit of time because it's pulling all that data. But we can see here we have a map of the state of Nebraska with the precipitation departure in inches between April 1st through June 25th compared to that 1991 to 2020 NCEI climatology. And we can see that this area in Nebraska here had almost 9.5 inches, 9.25 above normal precipitation during this time. So that's what it looks like to use this plot. And my tip for using it would just be read through the chart configuration options carefully. Make sure you're selecting what you're really interested in. But again, if you have any troubles, always feel free to reach out. All right. Now we're going to look at plot number 17, and we're going to look at, I'm going to go a little rogue. We're going to look at plot 17. So again, to navigate to that plot, if you know the plot number, you can type it in the search bar, hit enter. That will pull up that option. And so what we're looking at here is for any given month for a particular year, looking at the daily high and low temperature at a particular location. And so these are available for ASOS stations across really the world. So if there's a particular area or state you're interested in, that's available there. So you would select which state or area ASOS stations you're interested in. Then you would select which station within that state's ASOS network. So we will just stick with Ames that has data available from 1996 till now. So do keep in mind if there's a particular location you're looking at, do note when that station has data available, especially if you're looking at historical data. I would not be able to access data from 1995, for example, at this station, but I could for Algona, Iowa. Then you can select your month of interest. We can look at September. That'll get us the full month's data, the high and low daily temperature in 2025, and generate that plot. And so here we can see this light red is showing the climatological normal for daily high temperature and daily low temperature. And then these bars are showing what was observed at this location. So we can see we had a nice cold front come through at the beginning of the month, and then things really warmed back up again and stayed quite a bit warmer than normal for a lot of the month of September here in Ames, where I'm at. All right, we'll look at one more tool, which is looking at growing degree days during by a particular day. And so What's great about this tool is it does forecast out a few days using the GFS. So we will just take a look at plot number 240. So this is using long-term climate sites that exist in various states. So you would select which long-term climate site you have interest in. Then you would search which site within that state. And again, keep in mind the dates of operation for that long-term climate site, because that will limit you for what historical or most recent data is available. So we'll keep this Ames area site. It was installed at the beginning of the year in 1893 and is still operational. So we have a long data set available here. We can start accumulating growing degree days. I will go ahead and start accumulating them on May 1st and hit generate plot. So this will show back since May 1st, how many growing degree days were accumulated each day, shown by those green bars. And then this black line is showing the climatological normal accumulation of growing degree days at this location by each of these dates, so through time. We can also see the observed growing degree days that were accumulated at this location. So we can see we started out fairly close to climatology, and by the kind of the middle of June, we started to pull away, and we're really quickly accumulating growing degree days throughout the rest of the growing season. And of course, our corn and soybeans are mostly out of the field now, so we're not really concerned with future growing degree days. So this is particularly useful during the beginning and middle of the growing season, but we can see a forecast for growing degree day accumulation from the National Weather Service NDFD forecast and the longer GFS. And so this just gives you an idea, especially during the growing season when you're really more interested in those growing degree days accumulating, a short-term forecast for where we would be at. Alrighty. So that's everything I'm going to share with the Iowa Environmental Mesonet, a couple of tools that I think are especially useful. And lastly, we will take a look at the Midwest Regional Climate Center Ag Climate Dashboard. So I will drop the Midwest Regional Climate Center link in the chat. If you'd like to follow along. And yeah, so I'll just start here. This is the main website page for the Midwest Regional Climate Center. This is a great resource for looking at weather data and tools across the Midwest region. And I specifically want to highlight this new Ag Climate Dashboard here. So you would just click that button, and within the Ag Climate Dashboard, this was developed in partnership with the United Soybean Board and is really here to serve the purpose of what weather data might I be interested in as a producer. And so they have various tabs here showing recent conditions, forecasts, climatologies, different products and tools, and then state resources. So if we take a look at recent conditions, these would be ready-made maps for various conditions across the Midwest region. You can look at temperature, precipitation, soil, potential evaporation, evapotranspiration, sorry, degree days, drought, and crops. And there's a table here showing the last 7 days, last 30 days, month to date, and precip, depart or percent of mean, and multi-sensor precipitation estimates. So, yeah, this is just a really quick and easy way to view a lot of this more immediate weather data. So that's kind of where it differs from the tools available on the IEM, where those are highly customizable and can look at a lot of historical data. But this is kind of a more accessible and easy to use dashboard for weather information. So forecasts are available, and you would type in your location. I have it set to know where I'm at, so we get a forecast pulled in from the National Weather Service for Ames, Iowa. We can see that graphical forecast and descriptions. There, we can also access climatology information, so looking at freeze dates, when in my county or your county are we interested in the average freeze, and we can look at probabilities for freeze. And then products and tools are available here. I highly recommend, if you are a corn grower, looking at this corn growing degree day tool. Very useful as you're planning for planting and looking at if you have a situation where you may be planting later than you'd hoped, ensuring with that particular cultivar that you could reach a black layer before frost later in the fall. So that's where I'm gonna stop here and throw it back to Erin. With Yeah, we'll finish up here, but that's a brief overview of the Ag Climate Dashboard from the Midwest Regional Climate Center.
Yeah, thank you, Maddie. And just a reminder, we've got folks have been asking questions. You can put your questions in the Q&A. We will save a minute or two here at the end to talk about and answer any questions that you might have. I was going to start by really quickly trying this again and just really to jump to the county mapping to show what I think is another kind of useful aspect of the climate at a glance. So you can narrow down into your state, Ohio, for instance, looking at precipitation for August. I'm doing that because it is pretty interesting. So if you look at the actual ranks, and again, you can toggle this text labels on. You can see, many of our counties here, for instance, had their driest August on record. Of course, this followed the 8th wettest April through July on record. So, you might hear the term on some of these webinars about whiplash or rainfall or weather whiplash. Those are the types of conditions that we've seen. But anyway, you can pick whatever state you're from that you're interested in and look at those different time series and maps. That can be quite useful from a climatological historical perspective there. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there in terms of the website. I'm just going to finish up here with just a couple more slides for you today, and a couple more tools that we won't be able to go into much detail about, but I certainly encourage you to take a look at these as well. All right, so we have the Climate Toolbox is another tool that you might find useful in a lot of different capabilities than what we've shown you today with Climate at a Glance, IEM, or at the MRCC. So they're kind of categorized and based on product climate engine, and so you've got agricultural, climate, fire, and water in these sort of four application bins, and I'm just going to provide one example today from the agricultural bin. You can look at future growing zones, for instance. And so what I'm showing you here, these are based on, the first map that you see on the left here is just looking at sort of historical 1971 to 2000 categories of USDA cold hardiness zones and how those might change under various scenarios. I just picked one, sort of a high emissions scenario, high future, out to the middle part of the 21st century here. And again, you can get into more detail state by state basis on a lot of these tools, but we don't have the time to go into all of the tools today, but just wanted to bring the Climate Toolbox to your awareness and encourage you to investigate potential uses there as well. And then I'll round out with climate ready assessments, particularly targeting our agricultural producers here. So Monica Jean, who has also been part of NC3 and was part of a project called Climate Ready Midwest, has demonstrated this assessment in the past and talked a little bit about how she approaches climate readiness from an extension point of view, a single person extension point of view. But these assessments are available and have, again, originated with Michigan State University, developing these ready assessments. And then as part of this broader project that NC3 has been a part of called Climate Ready Midwest, to expand that just a bit. So now we have not only field crop assessments, but fruit, dairy, and swine as well. And they're all centered around asking producers to think about their operations and how prepared they are for things like short-term and long-term weather conditions, soil type, moisture management, nutrients, pest pressure, financial risk, and farm safety and stress. And then from there, are given sort of an evaluation or assessment of how climate ready they might be, and then linking directly to suggested resources to help build some resilience from those long-term changes. So again, just wanted folks to be aware that this product is out there. Also, a part of this project are videos of producers throughout the region that are thinking about ways of building resilience to extreme weather and other things on the farm as well. So I would encourage everyone to check that out when you can. So with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up our prepared material for you today. Again, we've got a couple of, at least one question, I think, remaining. A couple of them have been asked already and answered. Let's see. I'll go ahead and stop sharing here and pull up the Q&A. So if you got additional questions, please let us know. Maddie, an attendee said, where can I obtain price data for all crops? The finer resolution, the better. State level data is accessible, but it's challenging to find finer resolution data.
Yeah, that is a great question. The place I would start is the NAS USDA, so Census of Agriculture, National Agricultural Statistics Service. I don't know of any specific tools that would pull that data for you. So those do exist, I believe, by county level in PDFs. And so as far as I know, the way you would access that data is by going into either each state's or county's report. And yeah, I wish I had a better answer for you. Aaron, do you know of any other resources for that kind of data?
As far as price data, yeah. No, I mean, a lot of it's is amalgamated up for privacy concerns and issues. So yeah.
Yeah. For those privacy issues, they tend to report that state level data rather than that finer resolution.
Any other questions out there? We certainly do encourage you to play around, and really it is playing around a bit to kind of understand just the vast data sets and tools that have been developed to utilize this data. And certainly there is a lot of applications that this information can be utilized to help make decisions. Just going to give it another minute or two. Any final comments, Maddie?
I hope this was useful and everyone enjoyed a tour of these tools. And we acknowledge and we know that it's a lot and it's information overload. So yeah, do take time to explore these websites and don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions about things or how to use them or what is going into those particular tools.
Right. Well said. So we'll go ahead and close out today's webinar. Again, this will be recorded and available at the NC3 website. Our next webinar will be on December 15th at 1 p.m. Central. We'll have Madison Kavarna. A little more information and title and description will be forthcoming. Remember, you can also sign up for the newsletter to be notified, which is also at the bottom of our website. And Ali has posted that link to our website in the chat box. So until next time, enjoy the cool down. If you are a snow lover and you happen to see snow over the next month or so, enjoy it. Enjoy it for me. I might not see it in Ohio, but we'll see. We're certainly heading that direction. So safe into the harvest, and we'll chat soon. Bye for now.